appreciable amount of money to get this program in house. Liberia's permanent representative to the IMO is around Piah. Mr. Piah worked here before. He used to be the Deputy Minister for Technical Services. Even though he's now out of the ministry and he finds himself representing the country in a foreign land, he was still involved, making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's were properly crossed for the success of this program. Yesterday, we called out a few of our sponsors, the LTA, the Central Bank of Liberia, the LRA, the LPRC. They were all involved in ensuring that they can provide the requisite support to the Ministry of Information for the successful launch of this program. There are some who are concerned to know that they are asking whether this is a one-time event. No, it's not going to be. What you witnessed yesterday was just the launch of the program. It's a program that will be held on a quarterly basis. If the resources are available, it's also going to be held on a monthly basis. Because we do believe that the government of Liberia is doing a lot that needs to be talked about. We also believe that the people of this country deserve a platform beyond the radio station where they can interact with policymakers, the key drivers of the country's economy. Yesterday, you witnessed it. It was a very fruitful and frank interaction between the two individuals that control the financial sector of the country. Mr. Jala, he outlined some key initiatives that the LRA is undertaking to ensure that the revenue envelope of the country increased. He also indicated some of the measures that LRA is about to implement to ensure that people who are collecting, who are doing business in the country do not cheat on the government of Liberia. Okay? You listen to the Finance Minister, he outlined some of the constraints that they face in terms of the formulation of the national budget. But in spite of those constraints, they have to make an application that will form the figures in the national budget. He laid out the plan of the government through the finance ministry, what the government intends to do. And some of the students were invited. We couldn't invite many schools, just one school yesterday, Tottenham. The questions that those students were asking, very interesting questions. One of the students asked about the volunteer teachers. What is the government doing about our teachers? The other day we were on strike, we're in the streets. You know, our teacher laid down their trucks. He said that we didn't know, the public didn't know that the government of Liberia had initiated a process to properly vet the list of those claiming to be volunteer teachers. Because when the government of Liberia initially responded to the situation at the MCSS to recruit everybody who said they volunteer on payroll, they said they decided to swell their loan. And so as a result of that suspicion, they invited the CSA. The CSA had concluded a report, and all those who will be identified as legitimate volunteer and qualified to be in the classroom will be enrolled on the payroll. She wouldn't have had an opportunity to come face to face with the finance minister had we not initiated this program. We also listened to another lady who comes from Sando. She asked a question about the Sapo National Park. All of the encroachment, the violations that are taking place there, the violence that you heard the Minister of Information responding to this. How even the international partners, particularly the EU, they are involved to ensure that something can be returned to the park. You listen to the Deputy Minister for Culture when he said that efforts are being made by the Ministry of Information to have the Sapo National Park enlisted by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. So that platform, that program yesterday was good. It has been launched. We also announced that the next edition of the Government Town Hall will be held in Nimba County. The topical issues or the thematic areas will be announced to you. We want to do this so people can have the opportunity to interact with the government. The government also has to know what the people are thinking of. While we're building the roads, building the schools, ensuring that civil servant salary come on time, ensuring that the security of the state is in tight, we have to engage with the people. And through our engagement, we can know what they are thinking of. So we just want to close on our topic by saying that we appreciate all of you who, the press, who came to cover the event. We appreciate all those who called yesterday evening to give us a moral support and to congratulate us for introducing new dimension in the management of government communication. The minister is not here today. He's attending very important function outside of the ministry. And so we'll speak on behalf of the government here. But I just have to inform you that we are expecting the boss of the National Fire Service. If he comes in, he will speak to an outbreak that occurred this morning in the Matali area and to provide you information as to what happened as a result of that outbreak. If he doesn't come, we want to provide, but we want to always be on top of the information and to give the government position, what the government will do and intend to do about these things. We have seen lately that the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning has introduced something called deep dive with key sector of the country. That deep dive is initiated by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. And it is intended to engage stakeholders on the implementation of the National Development Plan, on the implementation of the national budget, identifying where hiccups are, where the delays are, and to remedy those challenges. And so the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning is engaged in a deep dive discussion with key sectors of the economy: public works, national infrastructure programs, agriculture, food productivity, security, health, and many more. These discussions are focused on the implementation of the budget, identifying challenges that hinder smooth implementation, and will, in the end, outline strategies intended to accelerate national development. During these discussions, critical gaps will be identified, underlying causes of financial delays will be uncovered, and joint sectoral committees will be established to enhance coordination moving forward. Healthcare system are among priorities in the National Development Plan, the arrest agenda for inclusive development. So the ministry, they were at the Ministry of Public Works the day before yesterday. Yesterday morning, before the finance minister came to the government, the launch of the government town hall, he made a brief stop at the Ministry of Agriculture to continue this deep dive coordination discussion. Many times, allocations are made in the budget, requests for allotment made to the Ministry of Finance afterward, and you see there are delays in the implementation, in the execution of these, the budget and other key instruments. So the Minister of Finance is now leaving the comfort of his office, going out to implementers of government program, key sectors, engaging them. When you apply for your allotment to the Ministry of Finance, what is the problem you face? What is the problem you encounter? What is the problem? Tell us. The ministry will also tell you your own problem. We believe it's a laudable step in the right direction because we want to accelerate national development. We want to accelerate national development while others are praying for the country to fail. As a government, we know our duty to deliver the commitment of the president and all of the officials are serving government, well aligned, and the Ministry of Finance has taken this step. We decided to echo it because it's a step in the right direction. The other day we mentioned here that, before I proceed, let me recognize Director Waswa Bafo from the National Fire Service. Like I indicated initially, he's here to speak to you primarily on the outbreak this morning and other issues about the entity. When I conclude my comments, he will speak to you, and then before we take questions. So the other day we indicated that the government of Liberia, through the Rural Renewable Energy, with support from some international partners, have embarked on a process to solarize health centers across the country. That initiative has been implemented, and we are pleased to report that in order to make health services available across the country, the government of Liberia, with funding from the Japanese government through the Rural Renewable Energy Agency and in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, has completed the solarization of 88 health centers on the first phase of the Liberia electricity sector strengthening and access project. The solar energy projects to rural health posts is a significant move aimed at improving healthcare delivery system in rural Liberia. They are not only focusing on health centers, they are also planting solar lights in rural cities. In Grand Cool County and other counties in the south which have benefited from this project, but we just have to throw light on what is happening in the health sector. So 88 health centers in rural Liberia have been solarized. You heard that the Liberia Telecommunication Authority on this on Wednesday kick off nationwide rural connectivity push. It started in Jerolinmek M County. And it is part of efforts. It is part of efforts to strengthen non-operational telecommunication sites across the country. Satellite internet via Starlink is being introduced, and partnership with mobile operators are restoring much needed network coverage in areas that have been silent or without coverage for the last couple of years. The initiative by the LTA is part of the government of Liberia social service program. So you see that when you travel across the country, there are regions or areas you don't have network. The LTA is now working with mobile operators to ensure that the entire country can be covered So that if you are driving from here to go to Riverside County, where my friend Chokon Farmer comes from, you can have access to uninterrupted coverage. So it's good that the LTA is doing this. It's part of the government of Liberia social service program. It's intended to provide access to rural dwellers, basic access to telecommunications. In this age of digitization, it's very important for our country. The Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation is proceeding well on the replacement of corroded water pipes. The other day we announced that the MD, the LWSC under the leadership of MD Mo Ali, brought into the country for the 8-inch pipe, huge quantity of 48-inch pipes that is intended to replace the ones that have been in existence for the last decades. Because since the system was laid out, those pipes have not been changed. So you realize that the flow of water from the White Plain to Monrovia has always been disrupted by frequent ruptures in the line. So the LWSC work on replacing old-age 36-inch transmission pipeline is well on course with the installation of new 48-inch pipeline and accessory. With the level of progress thus far, the LWSC is confident of meeting the October 2025 completion date. The completion of the pipeline transmission will increase access of pipeline water to Monrovia and its environs, which has not been the case for decades. Like I indicated, every day there's rupture in the line. They have to go to repair it. So they're changing all of those pipes to ensure that the access to water in the capital and other parts of the capital remain uninterrupted. It's a basic social service that we're trying to improve. The government is working to improve all of these things. You have water, electricity, road infrastructure. The government is engaged with all of concessionaires who have interest coming to invest in Liberia. When those investments are brought here, to get a job for our people. Country got to move ahead. The Ministry of Mines and Energy is opening county service centers to fully digitize its activities, digitize and decentralize all of the activities of the Ministry of Mines and Energy. The initiative is a flagship program of the current senior management team of the Ministry of Mines and Energy, which is headed by Honorable Jerolinmek M. The centers are intended to make services of the ministry available and accessible at county level to ease the burden associated with long-term travel on distant locations to reach Monrovia head office by those interested in the mining sector. And we are told that while on Liberian soil, he committed some crimes against the American government. He was producing and selling fraudulent documents. Producing and selling fraudulent documents. So he committed a crime in Liberia and he fled to the United States. Based on the healthy relationship that we have with Washington, they have agreed to have it turned over to the Liberian authority for him to be investigated for the crimes he committed. The government will continue to emphasize there's no room for people who want to use the Liberian identity to tint the country's reputation with other international partners. In the United States, it's no different. The other day, the minister was outlining how some Liberians are involved with negative propaganda that tend to sow a seed of discord between a sisterly country like Burkina Faso against our dear country. So this shows the commitment of our country. We believe in multilateralism. We will continue to work with other nations around the world to ensure that the image of our country is protected and respected. With that being said, let me now invite the Honorable Fire Service Boss to the microphone. He will speak to you, and then we will entertain questions from you. This press conference today is not going to be long because we had a very hectic day yesterday. So, welcome, Boss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, President Mr. Sanu. And let me say thanks to all of the media institutions that were also on Monday in celebrating the International Firefighters Day. I want to say thank you for your support. This morning, at about 1:21 a.m., we got a call, emergency call. There was a fire in MICAT around the Don Bosco. And in 11 minutes, the truck was on the ground. But to access the structure was very difficult. The truck would not go to the fire scene. So the firefighter had to do what he was supposed to do. By the time they got there, the structure is in shock, was totally gutted by the fire. We're told that the others in the house were able to escape, and 4 kids left in the house, and the smoke. Can you hear the smoke? Some of the brand by the time the firefighter ready, rescue them in the house. So, as a Sally, we want to extend our sympathy to the family. There were 4 kids, promising young kids who will be leaders of this country. Marco Mamalu, 12 years old. Emmanuel Flo, 8. Elizabeth Mamalu, 6. Nusu Kamara, 2. In fact, I got the information this morning that one of our firefighters from the Springfield son is also part of this incident. He passed this morning. So we want to use the public medium to say to him our sympathy. We always say that the blackness of the alley is a serious problem with fire department. And the things that cause fire, we should be careful with them. Why the investigators are there? We got some information that the fire started from a mosquito coil in one of the rooms. We start to ascertain that. That's the information we got. We want to call all of us, like the residents of this country. Better be careful with the things that cause fire. Because like we say, the ours, our family, very dear friends. Any question?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So before you ask a question, let me just say that you heard him. Upon receiving the call from the scene of the fire, it took the National Fire Service 11 minutes to arrive on the scene. In other developed countries, the way you know the effectiveness of the entity or the security apparatus is the response time. So even as challenged as the fire service is, it took them 11 minutes to arrive on the scene. But because of the same thing that we've been saying here every day, get built houses everywhere because of the attitude of somebody to have built in the alleyway. The fire service truck will not reach the scene to quench the fire, even though they are arrived there 11 minutes after they receive the call. It's good that the Ministry of Public Works is now demolishing structures that are built in the alley. So for those who say that, oh, the other day when you listen to somebody who were trying to politicize, say, oh, they're breaking people's houses down because in the name of development and they're targeting people and this and that, you have to stop it. Because people are dying every day, 4 souls who have been saved. If the alley was open, but because we built in the alley, they couldn't get there. Even though they arrived there 11 minutes after they received the call. I kept to emphasize that. Our country is challenged. It's not just in terms of other things that we talk about here. Infrastructurally. So when the government tried to address it, look at that. People built on top of fire hydrants. The LWSC has been working with the Ministry of Public Works to break down those structures. Every day, rainfall in Monrovia, the sewage line overflow because somebody built there. And this is just this revelation should further motivate the Ministry of Public Works to demolish all of those structures that are building over. Because if that road was open, 4 lives were being saved. Thank you very much.
So my name is Regan Levy and I report for the Liberian News Agency on National Information. So my question goes to the fire boss. Every time in Liberia we experience these kind of things, like fire incident where we see that people, life, property have been lost and stuff like that. Every time we come on our national platform, we announce it. What is your institution doing when it comes to awareness? How much are you about? Now these kids are normal. How much your institution is about to invest into awareness? Because I answer this question because most of the time you say, oh, fire or either receptacle or mosquito coil. How much are you doing when it comes to awareness in the various communities? Thank you.
So my name is Joseph Salif and I report for ABC Radio. My first question goes to Mr. Sano. And Mr. Sano, there's this incident I was reported by the Baku FM, our sister radio station, where a computer teacher raped a little girl to death. And up to now on the Ministry of Gender page, we have not seen any official release. The Liberian National Police have not issued any statement, and the sectoral ministry involved. So is the government not concerned about this situation? Are you guys have you received any information in relation to that? And lastly, to the fire chief, you can give us the total number of functional fire stations across the country. How many buses? Because you have a central office. Central office cannot take care of all of the situation. You can tell us how many functional offices are around in terms of fire stations, how many fire trucks are there, in terms of manpower and so forth. Thank you.
My name is Mopolu and I run a multimedia hub. And my question goes first to the government. Mother Molu, now leading STEM, has said that the president should leave or leave. Based on that, he has promised a nationwide protest to implement that statement. Is the government informed of Mr. Molu's nationwide protest? That's one. And my next question goes to the fire service. Every time we observe that you will come talking about the fire service, you will come and announce incident, and sometimes you will talk about awareness, like my colleague said. But are you care to tell us about statistics of the intervention made by the fire service? Give you all summary of how many statistic or how many incident that you have already rescued. Give your details about it so that we can know how you're working, not just talking about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Prince Joey and I report for Smart Radio. I have a question to the boss of the Liberia National Fire Service. To admit, for a while now we stopped hearing fire outbreak, and that really much has been heard from the fire service in terms of awareness. Why are you responding now? Is it because there's an outbreak? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Desmond William and I report for Democracy Watch newspaper. My concern, first and foremost, goes to the fire service boss. It is so pitiful to have listened that you arrived in less than 11 minutes after receiving a call about the incident, but because of people building into the access way, you only allowed the fire truck to get through. I'm also aware that the truck has a tube that normally pull out the water to quench fire. What is the distance from the road where the truck parked, to the horse that was under attack, that the tube couldn't have mentioned in to quench that fire instead of the truck itself going through? And to the government spokesperson, it is indeed a unique one to acknowledge the program yesterday, the government town hall. As part of the intent of government having such a program is to have a direct face-to-face interaction with the citizens of our country. So in keeping to that, there were key observations as journalists that we observe that we are inclined to recommend to the government. That which has to do with the moderation. John Colley have done much better, but I think he would have done it more. The moderator, it came at a point in time, he was one could say partially selective. And I don't want to believe it was based on directive. So we move to recommend to the government, when next these engagements are coming forth, you look at the student community, you look at the disabled community, the traditional leaders, and all other sectoral leaders that will be represented in the hall so that it can be equilibrium balance. Thank you so kindly.
Well, thank you. My name is Darren and I report for Wins TV. I got two major concerns. The first one is going to the national